Capital News tonight. Coronavirus sample testing by the National Health Laboratory to be investigated. Ministry $8 trillion budget. And in sports, the National Sports Council says it has not received a request for a refund from the National Athletics Association requesting for athletes who were to train in Kenya. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Karius. First, the national news. The Minister of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children, Umi Mwalimu, has suspended the Director of pave way for investigation. This follows President Dr. Magufuli's address made yesterday after swearing in the new Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, where he Health and Allied Sciences, who will investigate performance of the National Laboratory, which include the system used to collect and test coronavirus samples. Moving on, the Minister of Works, Transport and Communication has tabled in Parliament today a budget estimate of 4.78 trillion shillings for the 2020-2021 financial year, which aims to address various challenges in the sector, with some members of Parliament urging the ministry to release funds for infrastructure development projects as planned.
Kazi nyingine zilizokamilika ni ujenzi wa
projects that have been completed includes the construction of the dry port in Ruvu, which is 45% complete, Nyamisati Port, the construction of a coastal service dock, renovation of a ship tower, and installation of modern security system and scanners.
Na wananchi wa Mafia wakajiongeza kupitia wawekezaji mbalimbali. Imekuja meli pale ya kisasa.
A new modern ship has docked. From various investors, what is needed is just a permit so it can start to operate, but it has been 3 weeks now. The authority in charge of issuing permits, last week they issued a permit on boats made from timber, which is not safe, yet this particular ship with 2 engines and a navigation system, radar and other operation systems is being delayed.
Na kila kitu wanaambiwa kwamba kila siku kesho kutwa. Kesho kutwa.
More than 350 houses from Magogoni Street in Kigamboni Municipal Dar es Salaam have continued to be surrounded by stagnant waters for several months, caused by ongoing rains and lack of water drainage infrastructure. Residents in the area have said they are living in conditions that are hazardous to their health and have called on the government to intervene and address the problem.
Mimi hapa ninapozungumza maji ndani mwangu kuanzia juzi yamepungua, jana ndio yamekauka mule ndani.
As I speak, my house has been flooded for 2 days now. The level has gone down, but you have to walk in water to get in.
Wataalamu wanasema kwamba inawezekana tumejenga.
It is possible that we built our houses in a high-risk area, but I believe that it is possible to construct water outlets. But sadly, some modification must be made to allow water to flow out.
Lakini wapo wananchi wamejenga kwenye maeneo ambayo
there are some who have built on areas not suitable. As a government and as the district commissioner, I cannot tell my people to demolish their houses because they will have nowhere to live. Instead, a meeting must be held by the local residents to see how the water is going to be drained from this area.
wajadili namna ya kuyatoa yale maji, kwa sababu maji lazima yafuate njia yake.
The National Electoral Commission has completed the upgrading exercise of permanent voters register in Zanzibar, which is implemented by ensuring preventative measures against the coronavirus pandemic were adhered to.
The exercise is going on well as planned, but most importantly, we are being cautious, especially as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. As you can see, we are observing social distancing in our sitting arrangement, and all of us are wearing masks and gloves, and everyone who comes in must also wear a mask. It is my right to elect a leader of my choice. Everything is going on well. The number of people coming in keeps increasing as days go by. People have been sensitized to come and vote.
The Minister of State, Prime Minister's Office, Policy Coordination, National Assembly, Labour, Youth, Employment and the Disabled, Jenista Mhagama, has received a donation of 3 checks worth 150 million shillings from Mufindi Wood Poles Plant and Timber Limited, Kwahia General Enterprises Company Limited and Poles Tanzania Limited, companies involved in manufacturing of electricity poles in order to support the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Minister Jenista Mhagama received the contributions on behalf of Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa in Dodoma.
Ninyi mmekuwa ni watatu wa mwanzo kati ya hao wengi ambao wako kwenye sekta hiyo.
You've been the first 3 amongst many in the energy distribution sector in our country, but this once you've supported our government and Tanzanians in that what was done by the government to allow natives to contribute in the growth of the economy and development of this nation. It doesn't end there. You have now become a part of this pandemic and made a decision to come and support the government and Tanzanians in fighting this virus. I'm grateful that you care and that you are ready to work with the government and Tanzanians at large.
Residents from Uru Ward in Moshi District, Kilimanjaro region have said food prices have gone up after a railway bridge which connects the ward with Moshi Municipal was demolished by ongoing rains. The residents have called on the government to construct a temporary bridge in order to address the problem.
You can see how slippery it is. Very difficult for those carrying goods. We ask the government to help us in this regard. We are facing difficulties when crossing over. Previously, one had to pay between 500 and 1,000 to cross over. There is a road at the bottom that can be repaired and connected to this place. The cost of transport has also gone up.
They
have nowhere to lie at night. Their livestock has been swept in the water. They have nothing. Some are elderly and there are those who are poor. So I'm asking if food aid can be provided for them.
The Deputy Minister, President's Office, Regional Administration and Local Government, Josephat Kandege, has donated various items to flood victims whose houses were destroyed by rains that made more than 139 people homeless at Kipwa Village, Kalambo District, Rukwa Region.
Ni jumla ya tani 1.5 ya unga.
1.5 tons of flour in aid for affected families because food has also been damaged. I ask you to choose permanent residences, especially for those settled on the lake shore.
Kuja
ITV, Mungu awapongeze.
God bless ITV, and please continue in the same spirit of broadcasting our living conditions. As you can see, we are surrounded by water. I commend the media for covering our predicament, and ITV and Radio 1 for coming to see how things are.
The National Environment Management Council, NEMC, has issued a 30-day deadline to investors in the gold processing sector in the country to ensure they have registered their projects in order to be accountable by protecting and conserving the environment at water sources.
Ni maji yanayotiririka kwenda kwenye mazingira. Sheria ya maji ipo inayowataka wale wote.
Our focus is on water polluting the environment. There is a law on water requiring all those with wastewater containing chemicals first to recycle, so it is not released into the environment, and if it is necessary to do so, then you must treat it first. Once you've done so, then you will be issued with a permit from the relevant body to discharge the water. Anyone doing contrary to the guideline will be breaking the law.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. And in international news, 25 Kenyans from 1.125 samples tested in the last 24 hours have tested positive for the new coronavirus, bringing the tally of positive cases to 490. The new infections are from Mombasa and Nairobi counties and are of patients aged between 6 months and 60 years.
We've managed to test 1,012 samples in the last 24 hours. Out of this number, 25 people tested positive for coronavirus. And out of these cases, 15 are from Nairobi, whereas 10 are from Mombasa. All the 25 cases are Kenyans, and none of them has a history of travel. In terms of gender, 13 are males and 12 are female. This therefore brings to total the number of confirmed cases in the country to 490, just 10 shy of the 500 mark, and this is serious. On a positive note, however, we've recorded 6 discharges, and this brings to 173 the total number of those who have so far recovered from the disease.
President Pierre Nkurunziza has called on citizens of Burundi to participate in development activities and to be distracted, not to be distracted rather, by ongoing campaign rallies for the coming general elections in the country, expected to be held on May 20th this year.
The election is ours. Let us not hesitate to participate, because through elections we will be able to put good leaders into power who will implement projects for our developments and good governance. Remember, you reap what you sow. We urge you to send this message to your families that we all have to work in order to earn living. May politics not alienate you from fulfilling your daily activities. We are also calling on you to volunteer in safeguarding public assets in these few months of elections.
Hundreds of families in Malindi and Magarini, Kilifi County along the coast of Kenya have lost assets and crops after River Sabaki flooded into their residences, with more than 30 houses demolished by the floods caused by ongoing rains.
Changamoto yetu ni maji vile yanavyotuathiri.
Our challenge is water. Many houses have been swept away, as well as crops.
Kwa hivyo tunahimiza
We are calling on those living in lowland areas near rivers to vacate those areas immediately.
waweze kuhamia sehemu zile za juu ili wasije wakapatwa na madhara zaidi.
The security department in Uganda has arrested 5 Tanzanians after entering the country illegally through the borders which have been closed. The 5 Tanzanian nationals were arrested after trying to smuggle coffee into the country.
Tobias Deus, Rio Bosco.
5 people have been arrested for entering into the country illegally. They are now in quarantine and will be taken to court after they have completed 14 days of quarantine.
We are not taking that for granted. Our medical team...
We are not taking the exercise for granted. Our medical team is at the prison, testing all prisoners. It is an effort to ensure that all prisoners are safe.
That we keep safe.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows next.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production. Infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism has said it is implementing a project aimed at sensitizing domestic tourists to visit Mkomazi National Park, Kilimanjaro region, where there are rare rhino species. The project aims at boosting revenue collection from domestic tourism after the sector was badly affected by a drastic fall in international tourists due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Na tunadhani eneo hili kwa sababu liko njiani kutoka Dar es Salaam kwenda Arusha.
We're thinking of using this area as a starting point for domestic tourism. These attractions will support funds to running costs. Due to the number of animals found here, people will definitely enjoy the wildlife.
Sasa hivi ujenzi wa fence umeshakamilika.
Fence constructions are complete. Roads within the park are in good condition. Generally, all necessary infrastructures are complete.
Sehemu za maji kwa ajili ya hawa wanyama.
Tanzania Cashew Nut Board has said it is looking into new ways of supporting cashew nut farmers to get reliable markets during the 2020-2021 season if the coronavirus pandemic continues until September this year, when the cashew nut season starts.
We are working on means of handling the problem, as well as looking at other options that were achieved by other regions, like in entering into contracts, implementing forward selling, as well as asking for the government to buy cashew nut when the season begins, at least for farmers to get money.
And the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Agriculture, Gerald Kusaya, has expressed dissatisfaction on measures being taken by Tanzania Agriculture Research Institute, TARI, on ensuring availability of good quality oil palm seeds, where it has been planting 5 million seedlings annually.
Efforts that are done right now is to make sure that palm are produced massively, meaning that annual seedlings amount must be increased extensively.
Na hadi kufikia
we have planned to produce 5 million seedlings till April 30th. We have already produced over 1 million seedlings.
Karibu milioni 1.8 ambayo tayari imeshazalishwa.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Position, Joaquinho, he did lose and then
Welcome back, and in sports news. The National Sports Council says it has not received a letter from the National Athletics Association requesting for a refund from the Kenyan camp where Tanzanian athletes have failed to go due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Bado hawajafika kwetu, lakini ninaamini hawajaja kwa sababu
they have not reached for us yet because I believe they can manage the situation. We are aware that they had paid for the qualified athletes and they presented even the documents of payment. I don't know if they have failed to retrieve the amount they paid, but since they have not returned to us for help, I believe they can manage it.
wewe ndio uhakikishe kwamba unamuelewesha.
The coronavirus pandemic is hitting Tanzanian boxers hard, with some of them failing to acquire funds due to lack of international booth.
Inawezekana kwa sababu pia kipindi hiki ambacho tuna hili janga la corona.
It is possible because as we have the current corona pandemic, some investors wish to invest in professional boxing matches that will be played without fans. They will be paying boxers while dealing with all the required costs for organizing a fight. So we are trying to make our sport recognized more. Local boxers have lost 5 to 7 million shillings, but for those who fight abroad, they have lost more than 13 million.
Kevin De Bruyne has admitted he will consider his future if Manchester City's 2-year ban from European competition stands, but suggested he could stay at the Etihad Stadium even if he faced a year out of the Champions League.
Hit with the ban for serious breaches of UEFA's financial fair play regulations, but have appealed against the punishment to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. There has been much speculation over the future of key players such as De Bruyne if the ban stands, but the Belgium international said he trusted the club as they insist they have done nothing wrong and can get the ban overturned. Remove a European ban from the equation, and De Bruyne said he had no reason to want to leave Manchester, even if the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona came knocking.
The Netherlands manager Ronald Koeman has undergone a heart procedure in Amsterdam after experiencing chest pain and is due to return home.
The 57-year-old, who had spells in the Premier League with Everton and Southampton, was taken to hospital in Amsterdam after falling ill at his home. Koeman underwent cardiac catheterization, which involves the placement of a long, thin tube into a vein or artery, and is typically performed without general anesthetic and will return home. He was taken from his home by an ambulance, but after a surgical intervention was in a stable condition, his wife Bertina told the newspapers.
And Liverpool goalkeeper Loris Karius says he has ended his loan contract with Turkish club BESTIKAS following a pay tribute. Here's the story.
Super League outfit for repeatedly failing to pay his wages during his loan spell at Vodafone Park, with his agent Florian Gold saying they had not paid Karius his full contracted amount between October 29 and March this year. Amid the legal action, Karius said in an Instagram post on Monday that he had been in discussions with the BESTIKAS ownership for months to try and resolve the issue, and that he was sorry to be leaving his teammates and the supporters in Istanbul behind. The post was accompanied by a video showing Karius' arrival in Turkey to crowds of supporters at the airport, along with highlights of him playing for Besiktas.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Karius. Thank you for watching and good night.